Because if we're punishing harm, then let's punish harm. If we're expressing outrage, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the law, the courtroom, it's not a place for that. It's not the place for that. We have other ways and avenues and methods. Hey, hi there, guys. Warren here. So today I want to talk about when morality gets a little fuzzy. Yeah. So I was watching a crime documentary where this character, this guy, was charged and convicted in a murder, and he was given 2 consecutive life sentences. And for context, consecutive means served one after the other. And I thought, okay, because I'm all about the law, right? If you are found guilty and prosecuted beyond a reasonable doubt by 12 of your peers, and no other hanky-panky was done in your case against you, and you're found guilty, by all means, serve your time. But I was just thinking, okay, 2 life sentences. And then it didn't go any further than that, but here's the catch, here's the rub, as they say. After the fact, he decided to help the prosecution prosecute a co-defendant in the same trial, or not the same trial, the same case. And he did so, and she was found guilty too. Here's the thing. In showing mercy, and for that's for lack of a better word, in showing mercy, the judge lowered his consecutive life sentences to concurrent. And again, for context, concurrent means together, or both being served at the same time. So it is a reduction, but it's still a life sentence. And I thought, and again, I would love your comments, because maybe this is just me on a rant, because if the punishment doesn't materially change, then that means the deal wasn't real, right? Or is that just me? It either means one of 2 things. Again, to me, it means that the original consecutive sentences was excess, and then the lowering to concurrent sentences was, I used it already, but in this case, symbolic mercy, right? Either way, this smells like symbolism instead of substance, and that to me is where morality gets a little fuzzy. But stick with me, because I'm going to try to unravel it, at least for me. With hopefully with your help, you'll comment or beat me up, because I'm sure there are nuances to what I'm about to get into. And there are nuances to everything. There are shades of gray to every black and white. But I mean, if justice is meant to reflect moral weight, then the consecutive life sentence signaled that this is so grave, 1 life sentence isn't enough. But again, to me, that's problematic, because if that can be flipped with no significant life change to anyone, to the individual, to the family members, with no impact, then what is the moral difference between the 2? And again, I'm not to be coy, but I'm asking for mercy. Don't beat me up too much, because I'm sure, again, there are nuances. But if you flip it and concurrent, you flip it to concurrent without any real world impact, it doesn't bring the families that suffering's loved one back. Then what is the moral difference between the two in the first place? What are we punishing here? Are we punishing harm, or are we punishing expected outrage? Because look, the two are not the same thing. All right? And I know emotions get high when we talk about stuff like life sentences and people killing other people's loved ones. I can't even imagine. Me and my wife talk about it often while watching these shows, and I can't imagine. But I mean, the absurdities that we pretend the numbers don't matter when the end state doesn't change. 2 lifetimes, 1 lifetime. We only have one. So is it justice? Is it? Or is it language trying to perform as seriousness? And then if the law becomes performative, I think, that should unsettle us. It should unsettle you. I mean, it unsettles me, because at least that's the context in which I'm taking it. Again, I know there are nuances to this. But if we're just going to use the law for performances to send messages, right? That should trouble you. And my example is a real world example, and there are many like it out there. My example is not unique. I couldn't let it go. But I mean, is justice about measurable consequences, or, like I said, is it about sending messages? You voted for the right prosecutor in this vicinity, in this neck of the woods, in this jurisdiction. There is no room for crime. It will be punished to the full extent of the law. Is that what we're doing? Because it seems to me, at least in this case, that's what we're doing. Don't do wrong here. If changing it from consecutive to concurrent changes nothing practical, then the deal, like I said earlier, is meaningless. It becomes abstract. And then if it does become abstract, then now the law becomes a little hollow. Again, at least I think so. It almost feels like the system felt like it had to do something. Again, crime doesn't pay here, you elected the right person, we adhere to and uphold the rules of the law. And again, so do I. But when it seems meaningless, the charges, well, not the charges in this case, but the punishment, when it seems irrational. Again, you only have one life. So when I hear these consecutive life sentences, and then in this case showing mercy and a reduction to concurrent, it makes me scratch my head and wonder what it is that we're really doing. And that's my moral friction. And I am so not Mr. Moralist. I just understand that some things are just head scratchers. I'm going to be delicate. Some things are just head scratchers. Because if we're punishing harm, then let's punish harm. If we're expressing outrage, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the law, the courtroom, it's not a place for that. It's not the place for that. We have other ways and avenues and methods, but not to send messages through the law or with the law. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. It's been on my mind, and I just figured I'd throw it out there at you. I'm not even sure I got a coherent episode out of it, but we'll see. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. But until our next conversation, you be good out there. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk again soon. I'll see ya.